Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm gonna try and do a live stream. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the live stream. I'm trying out a new setup here. I've never done live streams before. Let me know if the audio is okay. Give me once audio and video. Okay, I have one. Everything good. Okay. Do I need more volume or is the volume okay? Audio good. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Wait for audio is low. I can barely hear. Okay, let me try and raise the volume. Is that better? The audio is the audio good? Is it better? I have it at 100%, so that should be okay. Okay, better. Thanks. Can't hear. Okay. Okay, is the audio better right there? Or was it better on the other setting? A bit better. Let me try another setting. Is that better? Is that better, or was the first one better? Test. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna stay with this one. So there's really no major updates. The update I have is I received the criminal complaint from the district attorney's office. The criminal complaint basically is the affidavit of facts. Um, the affidavit that the officer had to file to the district attorney so he can approve a warrant, and then so the district attorney can send it to a magistrate so he can sign it. So that's a criminal complaint where he states all the facts and where he has to state um, probable cause facts. So I have that already. Let me try here and okay. So this is the criminal complaint wrote by Sergio Garcia. You remember Sergio Garcia? This would be the first officer right here from left to right, Sergeant Sergio Garcia. That's him right there. From the United Independent School District. So first I would like to read the criminal complaint. Let me try reading it and then we can play a little bit of the video and some laws regarding open carrying and all that stuff. So the complaint basically says, I, Sergio Garcia, United ISD Police Department, being duly sworn to state upon my oath that I have reason to believe and do believe based upon the following information. On Tuesday, February 28th, 2023 at approximately 11:40 a.m., a call was received through UISD police dispatch that a man with a gun was inside the UISD tax office. UISD police officer Martin Moreno was dispatched and arrived at the scene. The male subject was not at the set location anymore when Officer Moreno arrived. UISD Police Sergeant Sergio Garcia, followed up on the investigation and contacted UISD Tax Assessor Monica Madrigal. Ms. Madrigal stated that one of her employees reported that there was a taxpayer in the lobby that was openly carrying a handgun, and he was wearing a bulletproof vest with ammo on his chest. So there's a couple issues just with this first paragraph. If it was such an emergency, was a felony, they kicked McDory in. So I would assume they would respond, not only one officer but multiple officers to the location. But I was there, I wouldn't say more than 20 minutes, and I never saw anyone there. The other thing I see here is it says UISD Police Sergeant Sergio Garcia followed up on the investigation and contacted Ms. Madrigal. Okay, there was no investigation to start off with, because he's right here. He is stating there was a handgun. And what's the definition of a handgun? Let's look that up right now. Definition of a handgun. Okay, so the definition according to the Black's Law Dictionary, it says handgun means any firearm that is designed, made, or adapted to be fired with one hand. That's a legal definition. Let me transfer here to this page. That's a legal definition of a handgun. A handgun means any firearm that is designed, made, or adapted to be fired with one hand. First of all, there was no investigation conducted. I was never interviewed. I never received a phone call. So there's no possibilities that Sergeant Garcia could determine that I was carrying a handgun. The other thing is he was wearing a bulletproof vest, which that's, to start off with, it is not a crime to wear a bulletproof vest. But a bulletproof vest would mean that it's bulletproof, and I didn't have a bulletproof vest. It's just a tactical vest to carry accessories. Okay, so let's go to the second paragraph. On Wednesday, March the 1st, 2023, I interviewed UISD tax office employee Ms. Carmen Montes. Ms. Montes stated that she was returning from PNC Bank when she entered the tax office lobby, and she noticed a poster board taped to the man's back that said, "Taxation is theft." Ms. Montes then stated, as she walked further into the office, she noticed the same man had a gun in his hip. That is when immediately Ms. Montes felt scared and reported it to her office manager, Miss Elizabeth Garza. Miss Montes asked her, "We're not allowed to have guns on the premises, right? Because there's a man at Mandy's window with one." Miss Montes then confirmed to Miss Garza that the man was not law enforcement, and Miss Garza immediately called UISD police. In conclusion, Miss Montes stated that she went back to her office, and this is when she noticed the man had a bulletproof vest, and all the vest pockets were full of black squares in what she believed to be ammo. Miss Montes got even more frightened and went back to Miss Garza's office. So this second paragraph, I was there, like I said, maybe 20 minutes, and I did not notice anyone being scared. I didn't notice anyone being frightened or concerned. The teller that attended me was very polite, very friendly. I wouldn't know why they're stating this right here. And this is way too much information for to add here on this affidavit. Unnecessary information. Basically, they're stating that I had a poster on my back and I had ammunition, and they felt scared. That's all it says on this paragraph right here. Oh, and also that they're not allowed to carry firearms in that building. We'll get to that in a bit. Let's continue. I interviewed tax office manager Ms. Elizabeth Garza. Ms. Garza stated that Ms. Carmen Montes entered her office to report a taxpayer that had a gun inside the lobby. Ms. Garza then stated that Ms. Montes described that he was wearing a bulletproof vest. Again, they're claiming it was bulletproof without any investigation, with a sign on his back stating "Taxation is theft." That is when Ms. Garza picked up the phone and called UISD police. Ms. Garza stated to UISD dispatch that she was not going to confront the man with a gun, and she requested a police officer. Ms. Garza felt uncomfortable and wanted for the police to arrive. Okay, I then identified the male subject as Ismael Rincon, DOB 6284, who resides at, he forgot the address right here. Ms. Madrigal then provided a check that Mr. Rincon signed on March the 3rd, 2021. Okay, so this right here is from the year prior to this incident. And this is just unnecessary. I don't know why they would need to add this to this affidavit. Signed the check on March the 3rd, 2021. And in the memo of the check, he wrote theft money for the address. Ms. Madrigal also stated that one of Mr. Rincon's properties is in a lawsuit and is afraid of retaliation. I then proceeded to view video surveillance of the incident. The video recording started at approximately 11:30 a.m. when a blue vehicle sedan arrived at the USD tax office parking lot. The vehicle arrived and made a circle around the tax office and then parked. The male subject is seen moving around his vehicle and putting on his vest. The male subject finally exits at 11:37. When the subject exits, he's seen prepping his gear, inserting magazines, and grabbing a piece of paper. This is completely false. I do not remove the magazines from my vest. I have them permanently, not permanently there, but I have them there just in case I'm gonna use them. I do not remove them from the vest. So I don't know how he can see. The camera is way too far to catch that. Mr. Rincon starts walking to the tax office and is seen open carrying a handgun on his right hip. Okay, so right here again, he's stating I have a handgun without investigation, with a bulletproof vest on. At approximately 11:41, Mr. Rincon gains entry. Weird word to add there. I entered the building. I didn't force or anything. Okay, so upon entering the lobby, Mr. Rincon walks in, pays his taxes, and exits the lobby at 11:49. So I was there for legitimate business. Didn't protest verbally. Didn't do any weird stuff, but had the poster on my vest. That's it. Mr. Rincon then exits the building at 11:56 a.m. I, Sergeant Garcia, reviewed any and all signage regarding handguns inside the USD tax office. Upon entering the USD tax office parking lot, there are 2 gates on each side. There is a sign that reads, "No unlawful carrying weapons." Upon entering the USD tax office lobby, there are 2 signs next to the front door of the lobby reading Texas State Statutes Penal Code 30.06 and Penal Code 30.07, both in English and Spanish. We'll get to that in a bit as well. Then he starts a sentence with a "and." Okay, that's weird. And I charge, therefore, that on or about the 28th day of February 2023 in the county of Webb and state of Texas, Ismael Rincon, DOB 6284, then and there intentionally, knowingly, and recklessly possess or go with a handgun on the physical premises of educational institution, namely United Independent School District Tax Office, which is not a educational institution, which was not an institution of higher education. That's a weird sentence as well. So basically, he's saying I entered a school that was not a higher education institution, which basically means I entered a school that was not a college or was not a university. The defendant's conduct was not pursuant to written regulations and written authorization of the education institution. And then he signs against the peace and dignity of the state, sworn to be subscribed before me by Sergio Garcia, a credible person. That's funny. And then magistrate judge Victor Villarreal was the one that signed. And this is the charge right here. Offense, it says place weapons prohibited. It's a felony 3. And this is the return. It's called the return of warrant. This is a warrant they issued. So every time there's a warrant for someone, they send out this to every agency in the state. To any sheriff, constable, police officer of the state of Texas, greetings. You are hereby commanded to arrest Ismael Rincon in your county and bring before me a magistrate in and for the County Court of Law 2 of Webb County, Texas, at my office in 1110 Victoria Street, Suite 404, Laredo, Texas 78040, in said county. Immediately then and there to enter the state of Texas for offense against the laws of the state, to wit, places weapons prohibited, felony 3. offense, he, Ismael Rincon, is accused by the written complaint under oath of Sergeant Sergio Garcia, United Independent School District Police Department, filed before me. Hearing failed not, but this writ make due return, showing how you have executed the same. Witnesses of my state signature, the first day of March 2023, and Magistrate Judge Victor Villarreal. And the bond was $50,000. And this is when they arrested me on March the 2nd, executed at 8 a.m. Sergeant Garcia. Okay, so let's go over some of the issues on this statement right here, on this affidavit. If we go up where it says where the manager stated that no weapons were allowed in the building, and then Officer Garcia then states that the signage on the door, the 30.6 and 30.7. Let's check those out. I have them ready here. Okay, so if you go to Texas State Law Library, there's a section for gun laws, and there's penal codes and statutes that are important for this particular case. So let's go here to carry of firearms. So who can carry a gun? Where can you carry a gun? How can you carry a gun? So those answers are here. As of 2021, people who qualify under the law can carry handgun in public place in Texas without a license to carry LTC. Texas can still apply for an LTC since it may carry additional benefits. Sections 4602 and 4604 of the Penal Code describe unlawful carrying and possession of a firearm generally to carry handgun in public. In Texas without an LTC, a person must be at least 21 years old, not have prior felony convictions, not have recent conviction of certain types of misdemeanors as described in sections 4602 and 4604, not be subject of an unexpired protective order or described in section 4604, not be restricted from possessing a firearm under federal laws, not be intoxicated except in certain situations as described in 4602. So it's pretty obvious who can carry. Anyone that has a legal right to carry, that is not a felon or a convicted felon. Let's go here to businesses and private property. In 2021, changes in the law removed the requirements to have a license to carry LTC in order to carry a handgun in Texas. However, private properties like businesses can still prohibit firearms on their property. This is important. It says private properties like businesses can still prohibit firearms. The UISD tax office is not a private property, or it's not a private business. It says if property owners want to ban guns, they generally must give proper notice to people at the property. This notice can be given verbally or through written communication. There are specific requirements in Texas law for giving written notice. So there's certain requirements for the signage. It has to be a certain size The lettering has to be a certain size, has to be placed within a certain amount of feet from the actual entrance from the door. Um, but this is basically for business and private property. Religious property. So basically, in 2029, they signed legislation that religious property would be basically the same as a business or a private property. Now let's go to the important one, government property. The United Independent School District is a government property, and this is the most important part right here. Most government property, section 411.209 of the Texas Government Code says this statute limits the ability of Texas agencies or political subdivisions to restrict the license carry of handguns on their property. Restricts the license carry of handguns in their property. Local government, okay, so the important one would be this one right here. The statute limits the ability of the agencies, political subdivisions to restrict license carry. So let's go to statute 411.209. Statute 411.209. Section 411.209. Wrongful exclusion of handgun license holder. A. Except as provided by subsection I, a state agency or political subdivision of the state may not take any action, including an action consisting of the provision of notice by communication described in section 30.06 or 30.07 Penal Code. That states or implies that a license holder who is carrying a handgun under the authority of the subchapter is prohibited from entering or remaining on the premises or other place owned or leased by the governmental entity, unless license holders are prohibited from carrying a handgun on the premises or other place by section 4603 Penal Code or other law. So basically, what it's saying here that government property cannot place 30.6, cannot restrict the entering of a license holder with a 30.6 or 30.7 signs. And then there's actual penalties for government entities if they restrict the general public from entering. It says from entering with a firearm. A state agency or political subdivision of the state that violates subsection A is liable for a civil penalty of 1. No less than 1,000 and not more than 1,500 for the first violation, and 2. No less than 10,000 and not more than 10,500 for the second or a subsequent violation. C. Each day of continuing violations of subsection A constitutes a separate violation. D. A resident of this state or person licensed to carry handgun under this subchapter may file a complaint with the Attorney General that a state agency or political subdivision is in violation of subsection A. If the resident or license holder provides the agency of subdivision a written notice that describes the location and general facts of the violation, and the agency or subdivision does not cure the violation before the end of the third business day after the date of receiving the written notice, a complaint filed with the Attorney General under this subsection must include evidence of the violation and a copy of the written notice. Written notice provided by the agency or subdivision. So basically, anyone can file a complaint with the Texas Attorney General, and you have to file the complaint after giving the in this case the UISD tax office proper notice that they are in violation of this statute right here. So basically they cannot have this signs right here. The 40.6, it's right here on the left. Let me try. With a pencil. So these signs right here, the 30.6 and 30.7 are basically they're unlawful signs. So, but one has to file the actual complaint. I have to go in person. I give him written notice first, and then file the complaint with the Texas Attorney General. That I would have to be doing in the following days. Okay, now let's go to educational institution, the definition of educational institution. So basically, an educational institution means a school, including a technical, trade, or vocational school, junior college, or university that is operated or directly supported by the United States. Operated or directly supported by any state or local government, or by political subdivision of any state or local government, or approved by the state or subdivision of the state, or accredited by the state, recognized or nationally recognized accrediting body. So this is what educational institution means. The tax office is not a school. It's a tax office is not an educational institution. And I don't think I had shared this before, but not only did they arrest me, they also cited me for violating this supposed signage right here. And this is the citation I received when I got bonded out. They gave me this citation right here. And the actual violation is criminal trespass. It's right here. Offense 1, criminal trespass, LTC. So what that means, any person that enters past those signs with a firearm is charged with a criminal trespass. Let's go ahead and read the criminal trespass penal code, or the 30.6 sign and the 30.7. Texas Penal Code 30.6, trespass by license holder with a concealed handgun. That's a 30.06. A license holder commits an offense if the license holder carries a concealed handgun under the authority of subsection H, chapter 411 Government Code on property of another without effective consent, and receive notice that entry on the property by a license holder with a concealed handgun was forbidden. So basically, first of all, I am not a license holder. And it's, I mean, any person with a, I would say any middle schooler or any elementary school would figure this out. Trespass by license holder. So basically means you trespass if you're licensed to carry and you enter that building with a firearm. But you have to be a license holder. So this penal code right here would stop immediately here in a license holder, which I'm not. So that should be the end of it because I'm not a license holder. This is 30.06. The next one is 30.07, which it's the same. It's just the open carry. The 30.6 is for concealed carry, and the 30.07 is openly carrying handgun. So it basically states the same thing. The only difference is the openly carrying. So I got cited. I already went to court for this citation right here. I had pre-trial on April 11th, and I already requested discovery. The prosecutor immediately started offering a plea that they would remove the charge if I paid the court cost, which is almost like $200. Then of course I told them no, and I turned in a request for discovery, which most people don't do that for citations. It's like, well, it's just a citation. There's no jail time, and my response was, well, I'm still entitled to a discovery. It doesn't matter if it's a citation. It doesn't matter if it's a misdemeanor. It's a felony. I'm entitled to my discovery. I'm being charged with a crime, and I'm entitled to obtain discovery so I can prepare myself for my defense. So that's where we at. I think they set it up for 30 days. I requested a jury trial. But I need to receive that. I need to get that discovery beforehand, before going to trial. So let's go back to the actual statutes. Now let's go to the statute I was charged with. So under government property, the next one is an important one: schools and colleges. Says, although a new law in 2021 removed the requirements to have a license to carry handgun, there are still restrictions on the carry of firearms at schools, and everyone knows that you're not allowed to carry a firearm inside a school. 4603 of the Texas Penal Code, which is what I was charged with. This section places weapons prohibited, provides a list of places where the carry of firearms may not be allowed. Okay, so let's go to this penal code right here. Section 4603 places weapons prohibited. A person commits an offense if the person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly possesses or goes with a firearm, location restricted knife, club, or prohibited weapon listed in 4605. On the physical one, it says, on the physical premises of a school or educational institution, any grounds or building on which an activity sponsored by a school or educational institution is being conducted, or a passenger transportation vehicle of a school or educational institution, whether the school or educational institution is public or private. So let's dissect a little bit this section right here. A person commits an offense if the person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly possesses or goes with a firearm. and we go back to the definitions. Firearm. Sergio Garcia stated I had a handgun, which basically would mean according to the definition, would be the same thing, firearm. Sergio Garcia did not conduct an investigation to determine I had an actual firearm. When they say reason to believe, that doesn't give them probable cause to arrest. They think because they reasonably believe I had a firearm, that automatically means they can arrest, and that is not the case. They need actual concrete evidence that I had actual firearm. It would have to say an example. If we go back to the to his affidavit, Sergeant Garcia reviewed signage and handguns inside the UISD tax office. There was 2 gates, and the signs read no unlawful carried weapons. Upon entering the UISD tax office lobby, there are 2. Okay. So somewhere here he would have to had stated that I had a handgun, and that handgun was for example, let's say a Glock 19 9mm black in color handgun with serial number such and such. That would be probable cause. Having concrete evidence that I had an actual firearm. Alright, give me a second. I think my camera got disconnected. Okay, there we go. So in order for him to have probable cause, he would have to state that I was actually carrying a firearm. So let's go back to the penal code right here. Possesses or grows with a firearm, restricted knife. I didn't have a knife. I didn't have a club. I didn't have any prohibited weapons. And then it says on the physical premises, and that's pretty obvious. Physical premises means you're on the exact location of a school or educational institution. We already read the definition for that. Tax office is not a school. Tax office is not an educational institution. And then the next part says any grounds or building on which an activity sponsored by a school or educational institution is being conducted. So this right here is for some it might be confusing, but let me give a couple examples. It says any grounds or building on which an activity sponsored by a school or education institution is being conducted. A perfect example for this would be graduation ceremony for high school. They rent out an arena. Here in Laredo, they rent out the Laredo or the Sames Auto Arena. If you go inside to the Sames Auto Arena, even though it's private property, but it's actually a school-sponsored event, you would be in violation. So that's a perfect example. It's a school-sponsored event on private property. You would be in violation as well. Another example would be a football game. When they have the state championship games. They've used the Alamo Dome. They have used the Cowboy Stadium. They use it for UIO purposes, which is a school-sponsored event. If you enter one of these events, even though it's private property, it's still school-sponsored, so you would be in violation. Another example would be when a school rents out, let's say Peter Piper Pizza. They rent it out. There's no access to the public. It's closed to the general public. The school actually rented it out, and there's only school-sponsored activity. That would be another violation if you go inside a school. And the other part, let's go ahead and read it here. It says, or passenger transportation vehicle of a school or educational institution, whether the school or educational institution is public or private. So that would be a school bus. Let's say, and it's pretty clear. It says doesn't matter if the school bus is or the transportation vehicle is private or public school. You would be in violation as well if you go inside a transportation a school transportation vehicle with a handgun. You would be in violation as well. So basically what that means, let me try and connect to my other camera. Sorry, the external camera's acting up. Okay, it's way too close. Okay. So basically, if you read the complaint, there's zero probable cause in the actual complaint. There's no probable cause at all. The process to getting an arrest warrant is the officer signs or writes down his affidavit. He takes it to the district attorney, and then the ADA has to read it and verify there is actually probable cause in that affidavit. Once that gets approved by the district attorney, it can be sent out to the magistrate judge to sign. The magistrate has to read it as well and verify for a second time that for a third time actually. The first person that has to verify there's probable cause is the officer, then the district attorney, and then the magistrate has to verify there is actually probable cause to sign that arrest warrant. But we're reading the whole thing. This is right here. They issued an arrest warrant for this complaint right here, and there is zero probable cause. So that basically saying that the ADA do not read the actual complaints. The magistrate judge doesn't read the actual complaint either. They just sign everything they sent to them. So that's all what happened, and that's the update I have to now, which basically they're just mad because I was exercising my First Amendment, paying my taxes, even though I don't agree with them. But guess what? I have to pay taxes. What happens if you don't pay taxes? They take your property. If you don't want to get out of your property, what happens? They force you to get out. If not, well, they'll just send a SWAT team and they'll shoot you out. So every time I go and pay taxes, I do it under duress. Um, last year I posted on the memo the theft money. This time I wore this sign right here, which was the first time actually trying it. I was not going to wear a vest, but I had it. I was thinking how I was going to wear the actual sign, and I thought to myself, well, this is pretty simple. I just staple it to the vest, and that's it. So that's why I use the actual vest. Let me go to the live stream here. I'm sorry I haven't been paying attention to the actual live stream. Do you have any questions? Anyone has any questions regarding the charges? Thanks for being here, John Eagle, Eric, Minton, State Media, Alan Killing. Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. Bo Como, Mom's Wholesale Videos, Eric Cohen, Rookfork, Yoid, Jason Random, Cajun Randy, Al Satful, Sinful Toaster, EJ74, and Rhonda, Jared, Texas Accountability. Thanks everyone for being here. Do you have any questions regarding the charges or regarding what's happening with my case? I am going to file a lawsuit, but I have to wait until the actual charges get dropped. They do not have qualified immunity. If you're gonna worry, if anyone's worried about qualified immunity, they do not have qualified immunity. In 2021. Thompson versus Clark versus Thompson. It was a new case law, but in Supreme Court. Whenever you get arrested without probable cause, that eliminates their immunity, like right away. Whenever you get your charges dismissed, they no longer have qualified immunity. So there's zero probable cause. If they want to do the good thing, the district attorney has to just drop it. There's no reason for them just to keep it there. Yeah, so they don't have probable cause to convict. I have been arrested 6 times. And I've never been to court for any of the charges. The first charge, which was the unlawful carrying weapons and / failure to identify, which was during the pandemic, that got dismissed, and I already filed a lawsuit on that. The second arrest was the New Braunfels. That has been dismissed as well. I need to work on the actual lawsuit to file that. The third arrest is the Livingston, and Livingston is another felony, and there's no updates. I've been trying ever since we got arrested. I've been trying to get in contact with someone in Livingston. Nobody answers. Nobody returns phone calls. Nobody Nobody calls me back when I leave voicemails. Um, I have never received a letter from Livingston about a court date, about dismissal, about anything. Brandon already got his felony dismissed. Melanie got her misdemeanor 911 call dismissed. Um, just Matthew and myself are not. We haven't received notice from them for anything. And for felony charges, I believe they have 5 years to try and bring up the charges. We got indicted, but after the indictment, we haven't received anything. We didn't even get the notice that we were indicted. I had to go in person and ask. That's how I realized I was indicted. The other arrest would be the interference with public duties with the Radio Police Department. There's no updates either. It's still they're trying to. Well, I haven't gone to court or anything, so it's still sitting there in the district attorney's office. And the other arrest is DPS. When I was recording that fire, and the trooper told me to move, I moved, and then he told me to move again. I moved the second time, and then he stated on his affidavit that I stayed and I didn't move. That's basically all the updates I have regarding my cases and regarding the latest arrest, the felony arrest. If you have questions, or you feel you need to call them to redress your grievances, here's the number for their department. Oh, and I have right now when we were reading the actual codes. Was it business, private property? The 30.6, 30.07. The chief of police from UISD, he used to be a firearms instructor. And the reason I know that, because when I graduated from high school, I took the class with him. This would be him, Aaron Salazar, that's chief of police. So they are knowledgeable when it comes to the laws regarding firearms. So they know what they can and they can't, because like I said, he's been an instructor for so many years. I got my first and second. No, only my first one. My first license to carry I took the class with him, Aaron Salazar. So they cannot claim that they didn't know, because they know very good. They are very knowledgeable when it comes to gun laws in public property. So, like I said, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can give him a call, 956-473-6361. Sergio Garcia, the sergeant. I've been receiving messages, believe it or not, from students. He's I think he's in United South High School. I've been receiving messages from students in that school that nobody likes the guy. His wife is a principal for a school. I don't know what school she's a principal from. Just thought I had I added that. so that's basically it, guys. We'll be doing an update whenever I get an update regarding my misdemeanor citation and the felony charge. thanks for thanks for visiting. Thanks for being here. This is my first time attempting to do a live stream video. Hopefully it was clear. Hopefully the audio was good, the video, and the explanations, as far as I know, because I'm not an attorney. Remember, I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving legal advice to anyone. I'm not telling anyone to do the same thing I did. I'm just saying, as far as my knowledge or my understanding, and doing some research, looking up definitions. So by no means I'm not giving legal advice to anyone. It's just my opinion and my interpretation. So thank you for being here, and we'll see you on the next one.